Yes, guys, so this video is going to be about how I completely transformed my entire life. 3 years ago, I was 19 years old working two full-time jobs. I was an ice cream man and a security guard, working almost 12 hours a day. And honestly, in this period, I was just working all of the time, had no time to see family, no time to party, no time to see friends, no time to do anything other than just work. And that period really gave me a fire and a motivation to achieve my goals because I was only in that job for 2 months. I was only working like this for 2 months. And when I was working like this, it built such a fire in me because I knew that this is not going to be the rest of my life. I knew that I was meant for more. And I remember when I was working in security, because in my mind, I was already a millionaire. But when I was in security, I would have people treat me like shit because I would have to get moved to different sites and different places where I was working, and I was just treated like shit. When I was working in the ice cream van, that was a family member. So that was my dad's, and I was working there. So I could get away with a lot more. But when I was working a proper job, like I had to experience what it's like to be an actual employee for a company who doesn't give two shits about you. And when I experienced that for the first 2 months, I made the decision to go all out on my business. I knew that I wasn't meant for that. And after that, I became obsessed about changing my life. I became obsessed with creating success. Now, I literally went down to an event when I first started. So I was working in my two jobs and I saw on my For You page about a networking event. And I knew that I had to surround myself with millionaires in order for me to become successful. So when I saw this event, I texted my cousin. I said, bro, let's me and you, let's go to the event. And he said yes. And we went down to this event, right? We went down to the event and I got to meet multiple 6 and 7 figure income earners at this event. I got to see so many people that were making a lot of money. And this was my first light bulb moment. At that event, it was like a company, and I remember this event, and it was like a network marketing company. Now, when I went down to this event, I got to see so many people making 10K, 15K, 20K a month. Now, you have to understand, I've never been in environments, never been in rooms with people that make that kind of money. So me seeing that for the first time was actually the most shocking and most wake-up call that I could ever imagine. When I was at this event, I just had a bunch of adrenaline. I had a fire in my stomach. I was so fired up and so ready to make a change in my life. I wanted success so bad, and I knew that after today, everything was going to change. And after that event, I texted the person that got me to the event and I said, bro, I want to sign up. I want to get started and everything like that. Now, to be in that company, and it was a trading group, I paid around £200 a month or £150 or whatever it was a month just to get access to the system and the thing that they have. Now, I remember when I was there, we had events that we could turn up to. There was Zoom calls, leadership trainings, all of these things as well. Had to develop in all areas of life, had to get confident speaking on stage and all of these things as well outside of trading, which completely changed my life as well. Now, 3 months in, I was going all out, doing 12-hour days. I quit my job. I went all out. I think as soon as I started making a small amount of money, I quit my job and I went all out on this. I said to myself, I'm not allowed to quit this until I make 10K a month, right? And I went all out on this business. Now, within just a couple months, I was making already a full-time income. I think I was making anywhere between 1.5K to £2,000 a month in this business. And honestly, it was the most amazing feeling having an online income without having to go to a job. This was the big thing for me. I would rather make a small, like 1,000 or 500, £1,000 a month than making 5K, 10K a month, 15K a month working for someone else in a job. Generally, the reason why is because when I'm working with someone else, I'm around low energy people. I haven't got a vehicle that's going to take me to a higher level, and I have no freedom. With me making 1K a month, I've got time freedom, location freedom, I've got a good surrounding, and I have a vehicle for me to get to 15, 20, 100, $200,000 a month. Now, I remember when I was first starting out and I joined a Zoom call, and there was an individual that, first spoke about something called a 90-day run. And what happened on that Zoom call was so crazy for me because I learned literally everything that I implement today, everything that I've been able to succeed with today, everything that I have and that's built up was pretty much based around this Zoom call. And this Zoom call was a 90-day run, a 90-day run of extreme focus, of elite discipline, elite consistency, and just full on force. What they were saying on the Zoom call about this 90-day run was literally, you're gonna sacrifice 90 days of your life to go all out on your business. You're gonna treat it like you're going to war. You're gonna avoid speaking to friends. You're gonna avoid messing around just for a 90-day window. You're gonna avoid even speaking to family members, right? Not completely. If you live with them, you just would be in your room. Like for me, when I was on my first 90-day run, I was living with my parents and I was just secluded in my room for I would come down, of course, and say hi and everything like that, but I would be more secluded, right? Not because I didn't love them or because I didn't want to be around them. It's because I had to make that sacrifice in order for me to grow and to do this for them. And at the start of your entrepreneurial journey, you know, people closest to you are not gonna really see the vision. And it's not because they don't love you, it's just because that they think in their head that this is not the right way. When I was first starting this, you know, my family, friends, everyone thought that I was crazy for doing this. Family members said to me to go back into a job. What, you wasting your time for this? You know, all of these things happen in my life where people were saying to me that this is not gonna work. And I remember when they were saying that, and I understood that they haven't seen what I've seen yet. They don't understand what I understand. They haven't got the results that I want, because I have these individuals that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month that are in the industry that I'm doing, and they've got the results that I want. I've always lived by this philosophy. Find someone that's got the results that you want, get close enough to study them, and then duplicate their work ethic on a 10x level, right? And I've learned this from my mentors as well. And I always find someone that's got the results I want. I never take advice from anyone that doesn't have the results I want. For an example, I want to get in good shape. I will never take advice from someone that is fat and overweight. If you're fat and overweight and trying to give me fitness advice, I am not going to listen to you. I might be nice and say, yeah, I might try that, but I'm definitely not going to try that if it's coming from you. Now, that's no disrespect. Even friends, family, whoever might say this to me, give me fitness advice on how to get in better shape, I would just never take advice from them. Why? Because they haven't got the results that I want. I've always only listened to people that have the results I want. When it comes down to getting in good shape, I listen to my PT. My PT is in a phenomenal shape. He's got the results I want. So I will listen to him because he's been through it. In terms of financially, I will only listen to the people that have got the results I want. I will never take advice from someone that doesn't have the results I want. Just making that small shift alone completely shifted in how I think and how I view life and how I take advice from people as well. I was obsessed of becoming successful. When I was a kid, all I would think about was getting rich. All I would want is to make money. That's all I focus on. I did not care about anything else. In fact, when I was a kid, every single day I would sleep and I would dream about becoming rich. I would have a dream about making money. There was not a single minute that went by that I did not think of getting rich. That's all I talked about and that's all I thought about. That's all I wanted to do, was just get rich. When I was younger, I didn't want to do anything else. I just wanted to get rich. I would just kept wanting to get rich. Ever since I got into year 9 in school, you know, that obsession just came in. Becoming successful, becoming rich, becoming the 1%. That was my obsession. You know, I started reading books even though I couldn't read, right? I started trying to learn these things because, you know, in school I wasn't academically smart at all. I failed all my GCSEs, by the way, right? I failed them all. Now I do believe if I did take it serious, I would have probably got better results. Probably would have still failed, but I didn't even care because I knew where I was going. And that's probably a naive thing to say, but to be honest with you, I knew exactly where I was going. I was so confident that I failed my GCSEs on purpose so I can prove a point. And the thing is, people give up right when they're about to break through. Because I was so consistent before. I tried so many different businesses before I tried this. Amazon FBA, drop shipping, you know, shoe flipping, you name the business, I probably done it. I was thinking about opening up my own fruit stall in the markets, or opening up my own shop, or opening up this, or trying this business, or trying multiple different businesses at the same time. I done it all and I failed all of it. And the only thing that made me not succeed in those things was because I gave up. If I didn't give up, I would have learned from my mistakes and I would have came back stronger. That's the only thing that's made me not successful in anything that you get started with. As long as you stay consistent and you learn from your mistakes and you keep bouncing forward, the minute you give up is the minute you will fail. You have to understand this. The minute you give up will be the minute you fail. I started this trading business and I started it and I never gave up. I understood from my previous businesses the reason why I failed those was because I gave up. And when I came into this one, I said, fuck it, I'm gonna go all in. Now, after about a whole year and a half of me in this company, me just running, me just, you know, just getting around these people, building the business, after I started doing really well, you know, people just started naturally asking me, how do I get into trading and stuff like that. A few referrals turned into a couple 30, 40, 50 people. Those people turned into a couple hundred, and then it became quite big and massive the way it is now. And now we run an organization where we help people go to the next level, and we probably put time and effort into this. You know, I'm really actually focus heavily now on building the best system for a brand new beginner to come in and actually make money long term and give them a vehicle that I never got access to. I want to create an impact so powerful where I can inspire so many people, not only to inspire them, but to help them grow and build themselves financially. In this day and age that we live in, it's so hard for people to live, especially in the UK. You know, the UK is so messed up. My petrol last week was £40, now it's £50. People can't do this on a normal 9-to-5 job. It's impossible. Like, it's actually crazy. You can't save up money, you can't spend, you can't travel. You're literally living to survive. That's it. You're not living to save up. You haven't got hundreds of thousands stacked up. You're living to survive, and that is the sad truth. I failed all my GCSEs and I locked in for 3 years, and it made me a multiple six-figure earner living in a penthouse in Canary Wharf, and I've completely changed my life, and I'm only 22 years old. I went all out for a year and a half, and it completely transformed the way I am now. All of that work compounded to this moment, right? Now, about a year and a half in the company, that's when everything started to change. I believe the company went down, unfortunately. It was an amazing company, and we left and we just started doing our own thing. And that's where everything started to change. You know, our teams just grew naturally. We just went even more heavier into the new system, into the new vehicle that we are in. And we went full on. Things started to change. I did a month where I did 10K, 20K, 30K, 40K, went crazy. It was going amazing, and I absolutely had so much fun building. And we did Dubai trips. We did so many cool things as well that we did with the team. And we impacted so many people. We even did a London event where we had over 100+ people at this event, and it was completely inspiring and amazing to see so many people get inspired at this event, like I was when I first started. Now, you know, I've only been making money for this last year or so, I would say, you know, like proper money. And you know, some things happen in life where you can't control, and some things just happen where they take full control over you, and you have to be very, very careful on who you give your energy and your time to, and you know, what you focus on in life, because one small thing can distract you and to take your focus away from your craft and your vision, and it can completely mess you up. And you know, I was someone that was always so focused on building money, but as soon as I started making money, you know, my mind started to drift elsewhere. And when that happened, I saw my income drop. I saw everything drop, you know. When I saw that, you know, I had a very negative effect. And there were some things that happen in life that happens, and you know, it just allowed me to switch. And that switch changed everything for me. When I switched, I focused on bettering myself physically. I focused on bettering myself looks wise. I focused on bettering myself financially, and I just started thinking much bigger. And I've always been this person that said, you know, and when I first started the business, I'm gonna be honest, I said to myself, I don't care about looking good. I don't care about getting in good shape. All I care about is making money. That's all I cared about, and that's all I wanted. I cared about making money. That's it. I didn't care about looking good. I didn't care about, you know, getting in better shape. All I cared about was getting money. I said to myself, once I get money, then I'm gonna get in better shape, right? And a year ago now, from today's date, I had my first session, my first PT, and I will probably roll a clip here or something where me in the gym, and you can see my forearms were bigger than my actual arms, and my hairstyle, my beard, my face fat was bigger. Everything was you know, different back then. And I was in the gym and I was doing my first session, and that was my first time making money and getting into the gym. You know, that's when all those things were happening in my life where I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna go all in. And I followed the correct diet, I followed the correct plan, I focused on bettering myself. I got to the gym every single day. I didn't miss a single day, I didn't miss a single meal. I was staying so consistent. And now this is me, you know, 1 year later. You know, you can see from this gym photo, the pump that I had in this gym was crazy, and you can see the difference that I had in just such a short period of time, in just 1 year. Or even like, I've been training consistently properly for the last 3-4 months actually, right? So this all happened within 1 year, but you know, me taking it serious and understanding everything properly was all within the last couple months. And I completely transformed myself. And to look back 3 years ago, you know, I was working as an ice cream man and a security guard, and I was super skinny. I was literally nobody. To come now to 22 years old, to becoming in the best physical shape I am, and of course I'm still growing and I'm still getting better every single day. I don't think I'm anywhere special or anywhere there yet in terms of the physical shape, but I'm definitely getting there slowly. And in terms of my looks, you know, my body fat has dropped a lot more, face is slimmer, slimmed down. Financially, I've completely changed. I now live in my dream apartment in Canary Wharf. You know, my whole life has done a full 180, and that's just because I was able to quantum leap into this new reality that I set myself. And you know, how I was able to do it was by understanding who to listen to, who to focus on. And I live by this 5-step formula: thoughts, belief, frequency, action, reality. First, you think of becoming successful. When I was 19 at the event, I was thinking of becoming rich. I was thinking of making 10k a month. I was thinking of creating success. I had these thoughts. First, it comes down to your thoughts. When you sleep, when you wake up in the morning, your thoughts. What's your thoughts? Your thoughts. First, you think it. Thoughts, belief. Now bringing on to belief. Now belief is such a powerful thing. One of my mentors, he said to me to do affirmations in the morning, and I started doing affirmations in the morning, and I started speaking to myself in the mirror. I started saying, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm making 10k a month. In return for this money and rank, I will devote my time, money, mind, energy, and experience into rendering the maximum service possible I can be. Stuff like that, right? I would say this in the morning every single day. And I would have a date as well when I was going to achieve those goals. And I would say this to myself every single morning. In fact, this was programming my mind. And I'll give you guys a piece of a puzzle here. When I was saying this to myself every single morning, every single day, I didn't even believe what I was saying. I didn't even know what I was doing. Just heard my rich upline, my mentor, tell me that this is what he does. So I just copied him blindly because he's got the results I want. And I didn't even believe in it myself. But after a certain period of time, I started to understand what he was talking about. And I was saying it to myself, and it was almost like hypnosis, because I am speaking in the mirror and I'm convincing myself that I'm someone, that I'm already there, that I'm him, that I'm tapping into this reality of this version of myself that's already there. And I'm also holding myself accountable in my affirmations. And it's almost like this funny thing. Let's say we're walking down the road, right? And this person comes up to me and he pushes me and he says, and I say to him, if you push me again, I'm going to slap you in your face. I have now just convinced myself, if he now pushes me, I have to slap him now, because I've just convinced myself and I've just hypnosed myself that if he now pushes me, I am going to have to slap him. I've convinced my mind that that's what I need to do. And every single day when I'm convincing my mind on what I need to do, it's slowly progressing me, slowly making me into the better version I am, slowly giving me clarity on how to get that. And clarity, that word clarity, has been the biggest game changer as well. The word clarity is such a powerful understanding. Once you understand about clarity, what is clarity? It's gaining full understanding on the topic. If you want to get in good shape, you need full clarity on how the body works. You need full clarity on everything so you know what to do. On getting successful, you need full clarity on everything in order for you to get successful. How to be disciplined consistently, how to be consistent, how to get around the right people, how to talk a certain way. All of these things you need to gain clarity on. That's why clarity has been my best friend. Now we've gone through thoughts, we've gone through belief. Now we're going to go through frequency. Now frequency can matter in two ways. Frequency can go in two ways. Frequency number one, your people that you hang around with. Even when you're working in your job, your environment in your job is such a negative environment because you're around so many individuals that think low, that think are an average person, that think a normal income, that think a normal mindset. The people I surround myself with, they all are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on a monthly basis. They're all making crazy amounts of money. The people that I'm speaking with, they're thinking, bro, you're only saving 100 grand a year. You're only saving 200 grand a year. That's shit. That's the conversations that I'm having. But the conversations that you're having at work are with people that are complaining about their shifts on Thursdays and all these things. It's a low frequency, it's a low vibration, and you can't help it. Absolutely. If you have job, if you have bills to pay and things that you have to do, that's absolutely fine. Of course, that means you can't change that. But I want you to be aware of the frequency around you. I want you to be aware of these things. When you're working in your job, when you're around family members, friends, people around you that think low, that think at a low frequency, you should try stay away from those types of people for a certain window of time. If it's your friends and family, of course, you want to be around, you want to be really close with them. But there's certain friends that I had when I was first starting out, and certain people that I know that I had to stay away from because of their frequency level. They didn't think an abundance mindset. They didn't think in that way. And that made me not want to spend time with them, because if I'm spending time with them, it feels like I'm getting dragged down with them. And it's so true. And it's so powerful. So your frequency is your environment. Now the second way of frequency is where you go and what you do. I always do this. I had on my vision board to buy a Mercedes. Right? I'm going to show you my vision board here. My vision board was to make $15,000 a month, was to buy the Mercedes, was to buy the jacket, was to give my mom and dad cash, was to talk at my own event, right? This was my reality straight after. After like 5 months, 6 months, I think it was. I got the Mercedes. I got I gave my mom and dad the cash. I got the jacket even. I spoke on stage. I did every single thing that I said I was gonna do on that vision board. I achieved everything I said. And when I came down to the Mercedes, right? This is the other part about frequency I was talking about. When it came down to the Mercedes, I would go in the dealership knowing that I'm only making 1K a month. I would go into the Mercedes dealership and sit in the Mercedes. I would already start pretending that I'm already there. I was sitting in the dealership speaking to those guys at the dealership, pretending that I'm gonna buy this car. And I knew damn right that I ain't buying shit right now. But I kept turning up every single month, every single week. I would sit in the dealership and I would imagine myself buying the car. I would just sit in the dealership hoping, wishing one day that this will be my reality. And the thing is, I got close to my goals. This is so powerful, getting close to your goals. I would go into the dealership, go to Hatton Garden, try on the watches, you know, go in those 5-star hotels and just do my work in the lobby. Just get around the money, just be close to it. Trust me, being close to it will actually somewhat bring it to you, right? You got thoughts, you got belief, you got frequency, and then you've got action. Now, action is so important. You will never be able to succeed if you do not take action. You can have all these other things, but if you do not take action towards it, you will never succeed. You need to take countless action towards it. You need to run like your life depends on it. There was this thing, someone asked someone, he said, bro, what's the likeliness of you making £1 million this year? And he said, 5%, 3%, probably 2%. And he said, okay, cool. What's the likeliness of you now making £1 million this year? If you don't make £1 million this year, your whole family dies. What's the likely percentage now? And he said 100%, 1,000%, 100%. And what changed? Not the destination, the why. His reason why changed. And when you want something bad enough, you will make it happen. But it has to be a strong reason why. My reason why was just stronger than most people's. That's why I was able to be here. We all have the same 24 hours in the day. We're all human beings. We all take a fucking shit in the morning. We're all the same. But the only difference is that I use my 24 hours better than you did. That's it. How can I be 22 making multiple 6 figures and you're fucking 35, 40, you know, still making $2,000 a month? Is because I sacrificed more than you did. Thoughts, belief, frequency, action, and then reality. First you think it, then you believe it, then you get close to it, and then you take countless action towards it, and then you make it your reality. I have done this myself. I have the proof to back it up, and I've completely shifted and changed my entire life within a 3-year window. It took me 3 years to completely transform my life. Trust me when I say this. Going to school, going to college, going to university, all of this shit won't allow you to gain that success in that window of time. You have to think a lot more bigger than majority of people. The only reason why it's called the 1% is because those 1% of people are doing something different. I remember saying this in school. I was saying in school that I was saying this to my teachers, bro. I was saying, sir, if they're called the 1%, then why do majority of people go to school, college, and university? Why? And he went quiet. He didn't know what to say. And it's crazy. Now, sometimes it will take longer for others and everyone's circumstances are different. But I hope you got value from this video and I hope you take countless action towards this and achieve your goals that you want. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like the video, and comment what your favorite thing as well about the video was. Thank you and take care.